All right, ladies and gentlemen, if we could ask the chambers to please come to order. Thank you all very much. Appreciate it. If the chambers will please come to order. And we are ready to start the 4 o'clock open session portion of our meeting today. We have been meeting in closed session. We are now reconvening, and as part of that reconvening effort, we'll ask you to stand if you are able and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag, which will be led today by Supervisor Susan Ellenberg. Supervisor? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all very much. That takes us to item number 7, which is when we have the opportunity to announce adjournments in memoriam and recognize the passing of folks who hold a special place here in our county. And I want to turn to my colleague, Supervisor Chavez, for that purpose. Item number 7.
Thank you very much. Thank you, President Simidian. Today we adjourn in honor and memory of Jimmy Yamaichi, a literally a cultural giant, both here in San Jose and nationally. One of the things that Jimmy was most well known for was his carpentry. He developed a love for it at a young age and took classes in high school. After graduating, he was unable to find a job because of discrimination, so he helped out his family farm but never gave up on his dream of becoming a carpenter. When World War II broke out, Jimmy's family was sent to the Pomona Assembly Center in Southern California, and then the Heart Mountain War Relocation Authority camp in Wyoming, and then Tule Lake in California. In 1944, when Jimmy received his draft notice, he decided to challenge it, and he and 26 other Tule Lake draft resistors went before the U.S. District Court Judge Goodman, who agreed with them on moral grounds and dismissed the charges against them in a landmark decision that allowed them to return to Tule Lake. After his release and subsequent return to San Jose, he attempted to join the same union that had turned him down before the war, and they rejected him. But Jimmy was persistent. He kept returning until the union finally told him he could become a member if he found a job at a company that was unionized. Jimmy became a member soon after, breaking this very important racial barrier. Jimmy was resilient. He continued to work, to build, and to contribute. In 1991, Jimmy retired, and he volunteered as a Tule Lake committee member, helping to organize the biannual pilgrimage and leading walking and bus tours. According to the Tule Lake Committee, it was Jimmy's vision and persistence that began and resulted in the lake becoming a national historical landmark, which was followed by a presidential executive order that made it a national monument, which then became a national park site. In 2011, the U.S. Congress voted to award the Congressional Gold Medal to the Japanese-American World War II veterans for the 100th Battalion for the 44th Regimental Combat Team and Military Intelligence Service. Jimmy worked with Congresswoman Lofgren, Congresswoman Eshoo, and Congressman Honda and other community leaders for 8 months to organize a South Bay ceremony. In February of 2012, almost 800 people filled the San Jose Buddhist Church, the Vet Swan, for the ceremony. Jimmy took it upon himself to design, create, and fabricate by hand the wood-based medal stands for all 157 medals in the shape of the Monte Cassino, the World War II offensive that earned the 100th Battalion its name of the Purple Heart Battalion. Atop each stand flew the American flag, and below the mount for the medal. Among his many contributions, he co-founded the Japanese American Museum of San Jose, received the Kunshou from Japan, the Japanese Emperor, which is the highest civilian award. He advised more than 50 Eagle Scout projects, served as the San Jose Vet Swan Buddhist Church Board, and was involved with virtually every temple building project over the last 60 years. He helped redesign the administration room at UI Kai, the building that he served as program director for San Jose Okayama Sister City organization. He was the first president of the Nikkei Matsuri cultural festival held annual in San Jose's Japantown, and was one of the first to speak out for the Muslim American community after the September 2001 attacks. His wife, Aiko, Jimmy, and his son, George, are here. And I wanted to just say to them that on behalf of the county, we're so sorry for your loss. And we're really honored to support Jimmy's rich and important life. And many people here may not know this, but we have one of 3 Japantowns, original Japantowns left in the nation. And one of the reasons we were able to designate it as such was that much of the history and culture were preserved, in large part due to Jimmy's very persistent, calm, present way of walking everybody he knew around that place until they fell in love with it too. It was really not optional. And he was a magnificent storyteller, and even though he was so much older than the young people he talked to, he was really able to captivate and fascinate every one of them with what history was here, but also how important it was for us to acknowledge that history for the preservation and protection of other parts of our community in the future. So I wanted to ask George and Aiko if you could just stand for a moment so we can honor you. And if all of your friends who came with you to honor Jimmy could also stand. Let's give them a round of applause.
Thank you for being with us, and please know that the entire board by this action sends its thanks for a life well lived and condolences as well. Thank you. Colleagues, that takes us to item number 8. Item number 8 comes in multiple parts, items 8A through F, and this is the approval of various commendations, proclamations, and certificates of appreciation. I'm going to ask for a motion, which I have from Supervisor Chavez, and a second, which we have from Supervisor Ellenberg. And I don't think we need to speak in support of the motion. I would just point out that a number of these people are here, however, to receive their proclamations and commendations. So it would probably be a good thing if we approve this unanimously. That being said, we're waiting on only one member of our board to vote on the screen. All votes have now been cast, and in fact, item 8 passes unanimously 5-0. Thank you very much. That takes us to item number 9, which is the opportunity to actually present these commendations and proclamations. And I'm going to begin with a couple, and then we'll turn to Supervisor Chavez for one more after those two. I think I'm going to ask Supervisor Wasserman to join me to assist with the handing out of proclamations, if he would, please. And let me just begin, before I provide any way of explanation, in asking the following folks if they would join us here at the podium. And that would be Los Altos Police Department Officer Kevin Vitarello, and California Highway Patrol Sergeant Martin Contreras, and Santa Clara Police Department Officer Adam Wilson, and Campbell Police Department Sergeant Brad Rice. Come on up, folks, don't be shy. Palo Alto Police Department Officer Daniel Cuevas, Los Gatos Montessorino Police Department Officer Wayne Boom, Mountain View Police Department Officer Mason Matamura, Sunnyvale Department of Public Safety Officer Kirk Kim. And in order to recognize Kelly Jonda, we're going to ask Kevin Vitarella to be here on her behalf, and we're going to ask that Captain Raj Maharaj be here to help us with Milpitas Police Department Officer Muhammad Ali's recognition. And now, for those of you who wonder why I am surrounded by all these uniforms and badges all of a sudden, it is because this is an opportunity that we have to not only recognize an extraordinary group of individuals who do very important work in our community, but also to express our thanks, because these are the folks who are our Crisis Intervention Team Officers of the Year for the year just passed. and I'm sure a number of you are not familiar with the important work that the crisis intervention teams do. And let me just tell you that they engage with some of the most challenging and fraught interactions that you can possibly imagine between folks in the community who are troubled and folks here in law enforcement, hence the name crisis intervention teams. They collaborate with mental health professionals. They learn the strategies that are necessary to de-escalate situations before violence occurs. And, you know, I just have to say, in this recognition, it's a sad fact, but, you know, many of the folks who have some interaction with law enforcement are folks who are deeply troubled in some way. We know, for example, that something like half of the individuals who are currently in our jail system have been classified as mentally ill, 20% of them seriously mentally ill. So we want to make sure that we don't criminalize mental health issues. We want to make sure that when there is that moment of crisis, we have trained professionals who are on the scene, who know how to handle that moment of crisis, who can de-escalate, who can take what might have been, what could have become a tragedy, and turn it into a much better outcome. And that's why the work that these folks who are on my either side do is so important. So would you please join me in congratulating and thanking them, our Crisis Intervention Team Officers of the Year for 2018. I'd like to do now is ask Tony Tullies, our Director of Behavioral Health, to come on up and share a few thoughts, as well as Catherine Parlett, also from Behavioral Health, to speak a little bit. And then we're going to hand you all some hardware, gentlemen. We're going to turn our backs briefly on the members of the public, and we're going to take a photo to commemorate the day. So let me turn first to Tony Tullies and then Catherine Parlett. Tony?
Good afternoon. I'm Tony Tullies. I'm the Director of the Behavioral Health Services Department here in the county. And I have to say that one of the proudest days of the year is when we're here to salute these fine officers.
Somebody's phoning in additional congratulations.
They're phoning in from on high. I just want to say, as the department head, one of the proudest days for me, and I know for my team, Catherine and many other team members in the audience, these officers have not only gone through training, they are the ones on the front line when there's a really difficult situation. They've done an exceptional job in terms of de-escalating those situations, and when necessary, they call the department for assistance. But in our world, they're heroes, they're partners, and they are amazing for every community here in the county. So I'm just very, very proud of all of you and all the great work that you do. So thank you.
Thank you. Catherine.
I'm the CIT coordinator for Santa Clara County. I'm very happy that we're able to honor these officers. These officers are working tirelessly behind the scenes. They epitomize the greatness of law enforcement throughout our county. 2 of them were called to a scene where people had large knives. 2 of them were called to a scene where people were attempting to jump. And all of them left the scene with no one being injured. They have the honor and privilege of helping people through the worst moments of their lives. They are the unsung heroes of CIT, and for this we thank them.
Thank you once again. What we're going to do now is call out those names one more time, and then we're going to ask Supervisor Wasserman to help get the right honorifics in the right set of hands. So I shouldn't have to say this to law enforcement, but if it's not yours, please don't take it, okay? And again, and please hold your applause, but let's recognize all of the following. Kevin Vitarello, please stand and receive your recognition from Supervisor Wasserman, followed by Martin Contreras, and then Adam Wilson, and then Brad Rice, and Daniel Cuevas, and Wayne Boom, Mason Matamura, Kirk Kim, Kelly Jonda, whose recognition will be received by Kevin Vitarella, and then Muhammad Ali's recognition, who will be received by Raj Maharaj. Now, let's see if we can make all of that work. I'm going to ask all of my board colleagues to please join us for this photo, and we're going to see if we can make us all fit. Gentlemen, please stand. Come forward. Briefly turn your backs. Sorry, I can't resist. They have your back, okay? So just come on up. Face this way. Supervisors. Oh, there it is. I knew I could stretch one. Stage right or left, whichever way you get out. And the gates are going to be counterintuitive. Folks, how about one more round of applause for our CI Team Officers of the Year? Really exceptional work done by exceptional people. Thank you all. Now, I'm guessing that most of us in the room were not mindful of the fact that Communications Dispatchers Week was upon us. I should tell you that the idea for honoring our emergency dispatchers was actually born right here in the Bay Area some years ago, in the early 1980s at Contra Costa County Sheriff's Office. Their communications center said this is work that deserves to be recognized, and about a decade later, Congress picked up on that notion, and in 1991, Congress introduced a resolution officially recognizing National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week. So even though it doesn't come trippingly off the tongue, each year our board takes the time to adopt and present a proclamation for Communications Dispatchers Week, and it is to coincide with the national event that is celebrated during the second full week of April, coming right up. The plaque that we have today will be received by two of our county communications dispatchers who were selected as last year's Dispatchers of the Year. They are our honorees, so please join me in welcoming, and I hope they are both here, Shannon Polito and Rachel McCormick. Would you please come on up? Thank you. And I just want to say again, it really is my pleasure and my privilege to make this presentation to our Santa Clara County Public Safety Communications Dispatchers. They play a largely unheralded but nonetheless essential role in protecting the public's life and property by being the folks who very quickly answer and evaluate hundreds of emergency calls on a daily basis. They dispatch the appropriate emergency response, maybe from law enforcement, fire department, emergency medical transport. They do that with what I would describe as a real expertise, whether it is a man-made or natural disaster, to keep all of us healthy and safe. I'm particularly pleased to be able to report today that our Santa Clara County Public Safety Communications dispatchers have maintained their accreditation by the National Academies of Emergency Dispatch since the year 2002, year after year after year. So with all of that in mind, we are particularly pleased that we can declare this Communication Dispatchers Week. And typically it has been our practice to ask the two county communications dispatchers who've been selected as last year's Dispatchers of the Year honorees to join us for this presentation. That is why we have Shannon Polito and Rachel McCormick here. And I have to tell you, their work is in communications, so I said, well, do either one of them want to say anything? And the answer was no. So I don't know what to do with that except to grab. They're behind the phone. All right. To grab this formal proclamation just approved 5-0 by our Board of Supervisors. Not everything we do is unanimous, so you should take some satisfaction in that. Would you please join me in thanking them for their service, for their honors, and for the recognition? Good women, come on up. We'll do a quick picture. Would one of you like this picture? Sure? Okay. All right. Stand right there. One more time, a round of applause for people who keep us safe. And here's hoping you never have to talk to either one of them, okay? Let's call Supervisor Cindy Chavez up now. She has a presentation to make as well. Supervisor?
Thank you very much. I would like to invite up Casey Halcone, our Program Director of our Victim Services Unit in the District Attorney's Office. Come on up. Oh, and the District Attorney, you should bring him too. If you want to come up, Mr. D.A. Rosen, that would be great. And I don't know if there's anybody else, just the two of you? Oh, come on up. If you're a staff member who works for our Victim Witness Program, please come forward. We'd love to have you join us up here. This unit is, as you may know, this is also in support of National Crime Victim Rights Week. This is this proclamation. And sadly, we have acts of domestic violence, rape, homicide, gun violence, and these are very, very difficult topics just for us to discuss as a community, let alone to be a victim. They can make a victim or a person who's been victimized by someone else feel powerless and make us fearful and afraid of each other and make us afraid sometimes to even go to our own homes. But survivors of crime in our community are not alone. Support, intervention, empowerment, hope, and victim services are available right here in our community and really with an unbelievably skilled group of people. Our program, the Victim Witness Assistance Program, now the Victim Services Unit in the District Attorney's Office, provides empathetic professional assistance to crime victims and their families at their greatest time of need. Services like crisis intervention, emergency aid, medical, and counseling reimbursement to mitigate the emotional and financial trauma experienced by victims. Likewise, if a criminal case is filed, our victim advocates provide comprehensive support through all the phases of the criminal justice process to ensure that the victim's voice is heard and that their rights are upheld. It is in this spirit, every year in April, our Victim Services Unit and our county at large join with the victim services agencies across the state and nation to celebrate National Crime Victims Rights Week, and this year it's April 7th through the 13th. This year's theme is honoring our past and creating hope for the future, and it celebrates the progress made by those before us, these amazing people, as we look to the future for crime victim services that is even more inclusive, more accessible, and continues to be trauma-informed. Casey, I do want to just say to you and your staff, just what an amazing job you do, and to the district attorney, you know, it was really a stroke of, I want to say genius, but I don't want to make too big a scene out of it, to make sure that we brought this program in-house, because it's really allowed us to really support victims of crime in a way that we hadn't been able to do before. So give them a round of applause. And I'm going to present this, Casey, to you, but the DA, I'm going to present this to you, and I'm going to ask if you'd like to say a few words, and of course, if the DA would like to.
I think you took the words out of my mouth, except to say that this means so much to me, mostly because I stand here in representation of the work that is done every day by this incredible team that I am so grateful to lead every single day. And really, I can't take much credit for this today. This was put on mostly by an incredible staff of public servants who work on behalf of all of you, who are dedicated every day to serving victims of crime. And it is a difficult, rewarding, challenging, unbelievably beautiful job. And I think all of us are incredibly grateful to do this work on your behalf and certainly to the board. And we are so grateful to be here. So thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Colleagues, we're going to all make our way down to the well. Thank you.
What's that?
Thank you. Thanks for doing this.
I have to announce that that's good as well. Yes. And clerks are aware of that.
All right. Thank you all once again. And Supervisor Wasserman, I believe you were scheduled for item 9D, but there's been a change in plans, yes?
Yes, unfortunately, a last-minute issue arrived, and gentleman was not able to join us today. And we will be rescheduling him to be honored appropriately at a future meeting.
Great. And then that takes us to our final item under item number 9, which is 9E. And for that, I'm going to turn to Supervisor Ellenberg, who is already on her way to the podium. Thank you, Supervisor.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today I am presenting a proclamation for Child Abuse Awareness and Prevention Month to members of the Child Abuse Prevention Council in advance of this Friday's Child Abuse Prevention Symposium, which is taking place in my district at Villa Ragusa in Campbell. Childhood is a formative time where abuse and neglect have devastating long-term effects on young lives that transcend into adulthood. Child abuse is a core, underlying, destabilizing factor to many of the ongoing struggles of our community, such as high rates of school dropout, homelessness, incarceration, and chronic health issues. Last year, there were 58,000 verified cases of child abuse in the Bay Area, the equivalent of one report every 10 minutes. This is reprehensible and unacceptable. We can and will do better for our most vulnerable members of our community, our children. April is Child Abuse Awareness and Prevention Month, and this year's theme is Strong and Thriving Families. The best way to create strong and thriving families and prevent child abuse is by surrounding children with a culture of community that includes healthy parental, family, and community-based relationships that are physically and emotionally safe, respectful, kind, and neither violent nor abusive. Our communities have great influence in our families' lives. Just as plants are more likely to thrive in a garden with good soil and plenty of sunlight and water, families are more likely to thrive in supportive communities. A safe place for children to play, the availability of food, shelter, and medical care for families, as well as a culture that encourages neighbors to get to know and help one another, are examples of the type of supportive community that can help build strong families. Supportive communities that are nurturing to families include quality early education programs that are easily accessible and inclusive, parks and recreation facilities that are accessible, safe, and inviting places for all families, resources to help families in need access food, jobs, medical care, and other resources, and safe, affordable housing for all families. The County of Santa Clara envisions a culture of supportive communities where healthy relationships are modeled in every home, family, neighborhood, school, and workplace. And it is my honor to present this proclamation to, why don't you all come up, Francesca LaRue, Director of the County Social Services Agency, Department of Family and Children's Services, Stacy Castle, Chairperson of the Child Abuse Prevention Council and Director of Program at Child Advocates of Silicon Valley, James Gibbons Shapiro, Assistant District Attorney and Chair of the 37th Annual Child Abuse Prevention Symposium, and Johanna Ty Van Dat, Chair of the Public Awareness Committee of the Child Abuse Prevention Council and Attorney at the Self-Help Center. Please come and join me.
Okay. I'm Stacy Castle. I am currently the chair of the Child Abuse Prevention Council for Santa Clara County, and standing with me is Francesca LaRue. Did I say it right? LaRue. Sorry. It's okay. The director of the Department of Family and Children's Services. And on behalf of the council, I would just like to thank all of you on the Board of Supervisors. Thank you so much for recognizing us. There are two other people up here at the podium that I would love to appreciate as well. One is Johanna Ty Van Dat, who is the chair of the Public Awareness Committee for the council. If you look to the back, there are all of these campaigns that Johanna's committee has started. You'll begin to see them on buses and billboards throughout the county in the next month. And James Gibbons Shapiro is the chair of the Symposium Committee, which you mentioned is this Friday, totally sold out. So I hope you have your tickets.
Well, we certainly want to thank you all for wearing your blue in the month of May to bring awareness to child abuse and neglect. Please know that child abuse and neglect is 100% preventable. Our children do not need to be abused, maltreated, neglected. They don't need to suffer from trauma, which lasts with them for an entire lifetime. We need to spend the over $6 million that Santa Clara County spends on child abuse and neglect, on early interventions, school and medical and dental, because this is a community that when we come together, I know for a fact that we can do better. We are a rich county, but not with money, with heart. And that is exactly what brings children and family together. It takes a village, and I have total faith that together we can create a community that's safe, kind, and respectful for our children so that they grow up healthy and safe and can take care of us when we get older. Thank you, everyone.
Colleagues? One more round of applause and appreciation. Thank you. Let me ask our County Executive, Dr. Jeff Smith, to come forward now so he can help us with item number 10, which is our Employee Excellence Awards. Dr. Smith?
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. Now I have the great honor to recognize 9 of our employees that received Employee Excellence Awards from their departments this month, April. And so will the 9 please join me up here in the chairs to my right and my left, and we'll have rounds of applause. Either way. More musical seats. Go ahead and have a seat. I think we need one more chair. Okay, well, this is always a pleasure. Every month we get to honor just a few of our 20,000 employees. Now soon to, well, it's already 22,000 employees. All of whom do a fabulous job every day providing very needed services to all of our clients, the services that hold the fabric of society together. Without this county, without these employees, without all of you, without all the other 22,000, we wouldn't be able to provide health care, roads, social services, fire services, police services, custody, libraries, and many, 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 many more. And so today you're going to hear a little bit about the story for these 9 individuals. And while we're doing that, I would like you to invite you to clap and scream and yell, and just don't throw anything, or at least if you do, don't hit me. And for the award winners, what I'm going to do is call your name, ask you to come up here and stand by me while I read a little bit about you. And then after we're done embarrassing you, we'll turn you over to the president. We'll give you your award, then come back and sit in your seat. And after we're all done with that, we will do pictures, okay? All right. So let's start with Loretta Smith. I work with Loretta a lot. Loretta began her career with Facilities and Fleets as the senior real estate agent 6 years ago and has worked her way up to that position. She has been an important part of satisfying the county's growing need for space and has recently supported multiple major acquisitions. Within the past year, Loretta has assisted in the purchase of approximately 1 million square feet of real estate, office space of real estate, and 3 separate transactions to provide adequate space for the county's growing workforce. She also assisted with the purchase of O'Connor's Hospital and St. Louis Hospital, helping for the continuing care of thousands of county residents. While working through the high demands of this acquisition process with the large portfolio, Loretta has served as temporary manager of the FAF Real Estate Division, where she is overseeing a staff of 3 full-time positions and addressing growing space needs. Throughout this time, Loretta has managed her own projects with great competence and provided guidance and leadership to the staff under her supervision. Outside of work, Loretta values quality time with her family, including spending time at the Delta wakeboard and water skiing events, attending concerts like Bottle Rock, and reading Greg Allen Johnson novels with self-improvement courses, also, and traveling. Congratulations very much. Loretta has a great job and does a great job. She always presents me with thousands of pages of escrow signings. So if you ever complain about signing all those pages for your refinance, just think of what I need to do, all because of Loretta. Ritesh Kokul. Get that solo right. Ritesh is Information Services Manager 3 with the Finance Agency, Department of Tax and Collections, has been with us for 3 years. He is in a division that's responsible for the development and maintenance of the county's tax and collection system that supports the annual collection of over $6 billion. Woo. $3 billion being collected by, what, Wednesday? Okay, Ritesh demonstrates his commitment to efficient, effective, quality services through his continuous improvements of the DTAC system. He has helped move the team into more current development tools and is driving towards a modern, cloud-based architecture. Ritesh's efforts help the county maintain fiscal responsibility. His solutions and recommendations make economical use of the technology and financial resources while addressing the particular business needs of the department. As an example of the recent is the recent delivery of DTAC's first mobile app that was completed under budget and on time. Ritesh leveraged and maximized the county and contractor staffing resources to generate cost savings. He demonstrates mutual respect to everyone he interacts with. He is a valued and important partner for the assessor's office, for TSS, and for other staff throughout the county. This has allowed him to positively influence the solutions that are developed to the business problems that are there. Ritesh brings an enthusiasm for enabling technology. He sees the possibilities and works creatively to impart his vision to colleagues so that they can innovate and deliver value. He is married to his wife of 12 years, Shriti, and they have 2 beautiful daughters, Adya and Advaita. Is that right? They have a strong commitment to the growth and education of underserved youth, and they currently sponsor 10 children from kindergarten to high school. Congratulations. Good job. Jeffrey Ramirez. Jeffrey was hired as an Office Specialist 3 in the Office of the District Attorney in August of 2018. Since 2014, he has been a counselor for the Santa Clara County Suicide and Crisis Hotline, and previously supported the DA's Victim Services Unit as a community worker, where he advocated for the services to the deaf and hard of hearing. Jeffrey played an essential role in preparing protocols for serving these victims. He is receiving this award because of his exceptional public service skills and his employee performance. Jeffrey consistently demonstrates an ability to manage a hectic, demanding reception and mailroom area while interacting directly with the public, the DA staff, and outside agencies. He does all this with poise, professionalism, equality, and respect. He exhibits talent beyond the scope of his responsibilities, supporting other departments, and he takes the initiative to do everything that's necessary to get the job done. Jeffrey is praised for his organizational skills and patience while working on daunting projects. He is dedicated, reliable, knowledgeable, and responsible. These attributes and contributions make Jeffrey an asset to the DA's office and to the entire county. Jeffrey is well deserving of this award as he exemplifies the core values necessary to carry out the county's mission. He is a member of the American Association of Suicidology, sorry, a little difference there. He is involved in the arts, including theater and dance productions, and enjoys attending the San Francisco Symphony. He likes to run, hike, ride, and take long-distance backpacking trips. Congratulations, Jeffrey. Ryan Bailey. Ryan is a correctional deputy with the Department of Corrections at Elmwood. Has been with us for 2 years. He is an exceptional employee, a gifted communicator who has the uncanny ability to remain calm under pressure. Recently, Deputy Bailey observed an unconscious female inmate lying on her bed. He recognized that the woman's symptoms were indicative of possible methamphetamine overdose. Pale in the face and with discolored lips, he knew that the woman was not breathing and it was time to get something going. He communicated vital information over the radio and facilitated moving the individual to a safe location of the dorm where he started life-saving measures. Responding deputies began CPR. Brian received the AED and Narcan, all while giving detailed updates over the radio. Ultimately, Brian was able to administer the Narcan. On the third dose, the woman began to breathe on her own. Still disoriented from this near-death experience, she looked to Deputy Bailey for reassurance. His calm demeanor, swift actions, clear communications saved her life. Well done, Deputy Bailey. Ryan is a Bay Area native. He was born in Mountain View and grew up in Santa Clara. He is currently attending school to earn his BA in criminal justice. While enjoying collecting antiquities and camping, he's happiest spending time with his fiancée, Jessica. Is she here? Jessica, where's Jessica?
Right there.
Stand up, Jessica. Daniel Gerard. He must be from social services. Oh, yes. Daniel is an employment counselor from Social Services Agency DEBS Division and has been with us for 8 years. He never hesitates to go the extra mile. As a counselor, Daniel provides sound advice to his clients. He puts a great deal of care and thought into his CalWorks families and always acts in their best interest. As a result, Daniel has one of the highest job placement rates among the employment counselors in the department. He's extremely well-rounded and is knowledgeable in all aspects of his job. His strengths include case management, job search, and his ability to mentor both adults and children. He is a team player who regularly contributes his knowledge, flexibility, and problem-solving skills and planning to successful UBT groups and other work groups. Daniel has earned the respect of all staff. If Daniel's name is mentioned in any group, his coworkers know they can rely on quality work, intelligent, skilled, and humble approach. Daniel treats everyone, clients and peers alike, with respect and kindness. Social Services is fortunate to have Daniel as a team member. Please join us in thanking him for expounding the county values and the values of SSA every day. Good work. Marcela Vasquez. Okay, public health's trying to outdo social services. Those two departments have too much fun. Marcella is a health program specialist with the Public Health Department and has been with us for 19 and a half years. During that time, she's demonstrated exemplary service through leading multiple department-wide initiatives aimed at organizational excellence. Marcella led the Public Health Department's application for accreditation from the Public Health Accreditation Board, which resulted in the department becoming one of the earliest accredited health departments in California. Great job. The process which she developed enabled the department to demonstrate to the public its ability to meet national-wide standards. Marcella co-developed a system for employee engagement, one that is now reviewed by the county as a model. Her leadership has been central to the full engagement of the staff around the department. Staff who have worked with Marcella describe her as an excellent leader who always provides a plan and ensures input from all at key decision points. She communicates well to ensure that team members are informed, and she handles complex logistics like a pro. Her co-workers uniformly describe Marcella as professional, organized, collaborative, collegial, and respectful. They further describe her as accommodating, responsive, always willing to help, and she's always patient with others' questions. Marcella is a role model for others in complex project management, and she leads teams to excellence all the time. She takes ownership and initiative to develop and expand the systems that make a big difference in people's lives. Marcella loves going on adventures with her partner and traveling, concerts, exploring new places, playing sports, and being in nature. She spends most weekends hiking the Bay Area trails and just recently scaled Half Dome. Really? She is the proud mother of a high school sophomore, and in her spare time, she teaches a youth class. Congratulations. Is your partner here? Stand up. Good job. Makes me feel very inadequate. Rex Rubina. Rex is a clinical nurse 3 at Valley Medical Center and has been with us for 3 years. He is an energetic, great team player who's always willing to try something new to help the county patients. Rex has been a tremendous contributor to the whole person care program at the Moore Park Valley Health Center. He was the first to enroll patients in whole person care and has stood out as a mentor for the program. He enthusiastically engaged in the program and developed workflows to support enrollment at the clinic. Rex has also been providing ongoing feedback to leadership that's vital to make sure that the program develops correctly. He stood out among his peers, encouraging and mentoring others in the enrollment and care coordination activities that are necessary. Not only has Rex been exceptional in his participation in whole person care, he has worked diligently and compassionately with the challenging patients. He has been able to find ways to engage, facilitate coordination, and support these highest need patients. Rex is consistently conscientious about his work and follow-up with all the patients whom he serves. Rex displays excellence in all that he does, his support of his teammates, his communication with leadership, and his deep care for his patients. Congratulations, Rex. Carolyn Driscoll. Okay, now we have a competition going on. Carolyn has been with the Vector Control District since 2001. During her tenure there, she has constantly provided exemplary service to the public, including detecting and reporting risks related to mosquito and tick-borne diseases. As a Vector Control Technician 3, Carolyn consults with residents on issues relating to stinging and biting insects such as yellow jackets and bed bugs. It's not her fault they exist.
Thank you.
She just tries to get rid of them,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Resolve the issue.
She interacts naturally with members of the community and has provided important outreach during tick surveillance and on the hiking trails throughout the county. Carolyn provides leadership through her professionalism and positive attitude. Drawing upon years of experience, she takes it upon herself to assist her colleagues or a new team member in the most efficient and effective ways to take care of the problem. Her knowledge and leadership skills helped the vector control team successfully suppress mosquito larvae in the Palo Alto flood basin and adjoining salt marshes that were breeding grounds for the hidden larvae and were 700 acres large. Carolyn is always willing to take on new projects and seizes every opportunity to learn and share her knowledge with the public. She demonstrates the greatest respect for the services that the district provides. She is compassionate about protecting our community, and her services undoubtedly improves the quality of life for all the residents in the county. Carolyn enjoys being outdoors, sightseeing, hiking, taking ocean cruises, and spending time with her family in her off hours. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Good job. County does a lot of different things, all of them making big differences in people's lives. Julie Lee. That's Parks over there. We'll have to change around and get the rowdy departments split up. No, just kidding. I appreciate it. Julie is the program manager for volunteer services with Parks and Rec in the volunteer program and has been with us for 21 years. In that job, Julie demonstrates her commitment to public service through his respectful and open-hearted approach to her colleagues and the volunteers. Her leadership style is a model that has improved both the staff and volunteer experiences and has led to more volunteer engagement. Julie ensures that volunteer service to the county parks is enjoyable, worthwhile, and appreciated. She has modeled her leadership behavior in such a way that it embraces new technologies and efficient approaches to daily work. She has revised and improved business processes in the volunteer program to allow staff to engage in more creative activities and to increase the volunteer signups and satisfaction. Park staff appreciate her support in the department and realize it has transitioned the new realize that as they have transitioned to the new volunteer management software, improving everyone's experience. Julie puts customers first. She works hard to ensure that the program engages the community in meaningful ways. She recently revamped the volunteer appreciation program with lead volunteer input that made it more meaningful to the volunteers. Finally, Julie has a quiet sense of assurance and self-knowledge, and that is valuable as a leader. People who come to her for assistance and guidance know that she will listen and that their opinions will be considered. She helps promote an individual's capability to seek what is inside of them and feel comfortable with the issues that they face and undertake. Congratulations, Julie. Good job. Always a humbling experience to read about our fabulous employees and what a great job they do day in and day out for all of our constituents, clients, and residents. So another round of applause for everybody. So we'll turn our backs to you while we take pictures. Feel free to clap and scream. Crescent right here. Everybody's standing. Thank you all.
Ladies and gentlemen, without objection and hearing none, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you all very much.